Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira, the niche navigator, coming to you live with another episode and another guest who's going to talk to you about their niche. What are they doing? Where are they coming? Where are they coming from? I'm sorry about that. We're trying to stream this. But, ladies and gentlemen, we bring this program to you because we know that everybody has a story and everybody is looking for their purpose. So, we bring you the show and showcase the people who have already found their purpose. And we try to share these stories to inspire you to take you to the next level. Without further ado, our guest here today is Joseph Soel. Hi, Joseph. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Where are you calling us from, Joe?
Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington. Now, you are a very amazing character. So tell us a little bit about yourself because I want to know more.
Well, I am an Iraq War veteran. I wrote a book called The Broken Mirror of Memory, Iraq and Other Tales. I'm a psychedelic adventurer, a bit of a philosopher. I played banjo in the band Buddha Melt. And I'm just wandering around living my life and trying to make something better of myself.
Okay, so first of all, you are a veteran, Iraq War.
Yes.
So thank you so much for your service and thank you so much for keeping us safe. You are very young. So when did you join the Army? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. I joined the Army in 2006, and I went to Iraq in 2008. And my experiences there just made me want to write it all down. And I started writing it down while I was in Iraq. And then from there, it turned into about a 10-year project to finish the book and push it out, get it published. But we can certainly get into Iraq if you want, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So was this something that you always yearned to do, serve your country? I mean, 2008, how old were you?
I was just I turned 21 in Iraq. So I joined when I was 19. So yes, it was something I always knew I wanted to do. Yes.
And did you know when you joined the Army, were we at war already?
Yes, we were.
And so when they called you and they said, hey, you got to come, you just were ready? Or, I mean, what was the thought process that was going through your head?
It was different. Definitely scary and exciting and, terrifying all at the same time. So it was a mixture of things coming together when you get that call.
So we know that Iraq had Saddam Hussein at the time. Were you there when all of this other stuff that was politically happening, were you there then?
I was there 2008, 2009, so it was after Saddam had been executed. And Nouri al-Maliki was in power as the prime minister, and I was there during the Battle of Basra, not in Basra, but supplying ammunition for the Battle of Basra, when Nouri al-Maliki decided to go after Muqtada al-Sadr and the Mahdi army in the south. So that was a big event, and they did have provisional elections while I was there.
So what was your job in the Army?
I was an ammunition specialist. My job was to issue out bombs, bullets, things of that nature, and it had a deep effect on me.
Did you have prior knowledge about this weaponry?
Only what I was taught in training.
So you went there like a clean slate, little
Mhm.
bit of knowledge, and then you learned everything on the job.
Yeah. I had to reclass into munitions to deploy, so it ended up kind of being a learn on the job type deal.
Okay, so thank you again for your service. So how you were there for 2 years, you came back
Yeah.
for 1 year. Did you go back?
I did not go back again. I was deployed for 1 year, came home, and was fortunate enough not to get another deployment. So
So when you came back, how was this here, America, different from where you were?
we didn't really seem to know we were at war. Um, Life just continued as normal. Everyone was, going to the mall, shopping, traveling.
You're talking about here.
Gear, yeah. Everyone was going to the mall, shopping, just not really aware of what was going on in Iraq or Afghanistan at the time. It was almost background noise to them. So it was very strange.
As it is right now with the Russia and the war with Russia. And so everybody's like living their life, not worrying about what's happening over there.
Right.
What did you, when you were there, what did you think of the people over there?
I learned quite a bit from the people. There was a particular translator for our workers. Part of my job was to escort local nationals to improve the base, to build up the base, things of that nature. And that's why the first section of the book is called Conversations with Ali. I ate with the workers. I got to know the workers. I learned a bit of Arabic from them, and realized that I had no conflict with them as a people whatsoever. Um, they really impressed upon me their own humanness simply by existing, simply by interacting with me. They really impressed upon me their own humanness.
So they are just people over there living a life, trying
Yes,
to make it day to day, and they are the just as great of a people of a nation there that we are here.
yes, absolutely, and completely. And it took away from the training the army had given me to view the enemy as a block of people, um, as a sort of large mass, instead of, here's an individual, you can deal with them how you want, but here's a human being standing right in front of you. Deal with them fairly or not, that's your choice, but you can no longer view them as just the enemy, as just terrorists, as just, the Iraqis. You see them as human beings once you meet them, and once you meet them, you can't unlearn that.
Okay, I like that. So you have family here. You were 19 years old. You decided, okay, you're gonna go serve your country. You have family, your parents.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my mother died when I was 8. It was
Sorry.
1997. Um, my father's still alive, and and he raised me by himself after my mother died, and he's a good man. He's a Vietnam veteran himself, and his support meant a lot while I was over there. He really took good care of me. So
So serving the country runs in your blood.
yes. It's in the family.
So you had just finished high school when you went?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so what made you think of, let me just journal all of these day to day activities or feelings or whatever I'm having? Let me just put it down on paper.
Um, Initially, it was just to cope with the stress of being there. And then later, when I got home, it was to get the story out about the effects of the Iraq War on the Iraqi people themselves, and to advocate for bringing our troops home. Um, that was the real motivator. Having peace in our world was the real motivator for the book. If it can reach one person and convince them that war is a nasty business, then I've done my job.
Well, it is a nasty business
Yes.
because you got to kill people and you then, but people, if you look at it from different several views, you know that the arms people are making money off of it,
Yeah.
whoever manufactures the arms. But then also there is a political agenda that happens that we know nothing about, right?
Yeah.
So but again, so when you started writing, and you, so how did you put your books? Did you have a book there? Tell me when you first started writing, what your thoughts were, why you decided. I know you have a greater purpose, but it's always that first word when you start writing. It's like, what am I going to write? I have a
Oh
blank piece
gosh,
of paper.
that first word was in Iraq, and it was about a big rocket attack that we had. And if I can find it in here, I will share it with you.
Put you on a spot. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. It's it was a real process. There was no real, there was no real. Hey, this is the first word. I didn't think of it as a book then because I didn't know I was going to finish a book. It was just sort of a blog, and
So were you writing by hand, or were you now we are going into technical stuff? So are
mhm.
you writing by hand, like piece and paper and pencil, or were you writing it on your phone and saying, you know what, this is a Word document, let me just put it on Google Share? I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
Google
was.
Share was around that time.
I don't think it was. It was more of just, hey, I'm gonna put this on a blog online and just get it out there. I don't think it had very many views at the time, and I don't think it does now, frankly. But I definitely wanted to put it out there.
So you were very overwhelmed. Was it because when you went there, okay, so let's go a little bit back. I think I know where this is going. I'm going to ask you to relive it. If you don't want to talk about it, that's okay. But you go there and you realize you're in war. Now you have a army camp, I'm guessing. I don't know, I'm just talking. And you're there, and then you see what? What do you see? The first impression of this war.
First impression of this war was middle of the night. It was March. I have it on my wrist here. It was March 12th, 2008. I have it on my wrist here. And it was the middle of the night, and a rocket came in streaming over us. You could hear the fins spinning in the wind, and it hit. And I was talking to a sergeant outside of his containerized housing unit, the place where we live. The little their little trailers, and right before the rocket attack, they had been firing out illumination rounds. They were looking for something off the base, and I would flinch with um, every outgoing round, and the sergeant would say, "Hey, that's outgoing. Hey, that's outgoing." Then something flew over us very, very loudly. It was screaming like a demon out of hell, just, and I hit the deck as I heard a much louder explosion. And the sergeant took a drag off his cigarette, still sitting there, let out the smoke, and said, "That's incoming. Welcome to Iraq."
Oh, wow. So they had already gotten used to it, but you flinched. And
Yes, yes.
you were thinking, what did I just sign up for?
Right.
I
What
don't.
did I sign up for? It turned out, although I blocked it from my memory for a long time, that's why the book is called The Broken Mirror of Memory. Um, 3 soldiers from the battalion we had become assigned to, we were a reserve unit. 3 soldiers from the battalion we were assigned to were killed that night. And I completely just blocked it from my memory. Didn't remember it until I was talking to guys on our reunion page just about a month ago. Didn't really, I mean, I intellectually knew it, but I didn't remember it. It was blanked from my memory completely.
So your whole purpose for writing this book is, let's bring peace into the world, because there's people everywhere who are trying to survive regardless of where in the world they live.
Yes.
Let's not do it with hatred and war and bloodshed. Let's do it with love.
Yes, yes. Love, food aid, water aid, medical aid. Let's do it with kindness. Why can't the United States be a force for completely unadulterated good in the world? And I
So
don't think.
go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. And I don't think that sending weapons all over the world is being a force for good.
Okay, so I get your point because I'm from East Africa, and I know that there are several people out there who are building wells for water because women have to travel so long distances and everything. And this has happened in Ethiopia, in Sudan, in Uganda, in Kenya, in Tanzania, all of these places that I'm very familiar with. But let me ask you this: how much traction have you got with your book?
I've sold about 40 copies. So anyone watching or listening, I would be thrilled if you go pick it up just to get the story out there. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but it's definitely a work of love. It's definitely something that I've poured my entire soul into. So the 40 sales could be a lot better.
You came back, so we'll put the link and we'll share your book with everybody. But let me also ask you another question: is that you've come back since 2008? Are you still serving the country?
I am not. I am out of the Army now. And I am, yeah, I'm no longer affiliated with the Army. My opinions are my own, though. They're not the opinions of the Department of Defense. So,
Right. So what is it that you're doing now?
I am working on a bluegrass album for my band Buddha Melt. I'm promoting the book, obviously. Um, and I'm playing a lot of golf. I'm just starting getting into golf. And I'm essentially retired now. So I can promote the book full time, and I can work on art full time, and it's a good thing.
So what? Okay, so you're retired, but have you thought about doing something else? What are your aspirations after this?
Oh, my aspirations. I would like to work at a homeless shelter, helping people off the streets every day. That's my greatest aspiration right now. I'm looking into long term ordination in the Episcopal Church, um, and serving the poor and downtrodden in that way. That's really my biggest goal, is to be. I really want my life to be the hands of God's compassion in the world. That's really what I want.
That's a very noble thought. How many, should I put you on the spot here? Do
Please.
you go do you go and help out in the shelters now? I know Seattle along the freeway. My daughter lived there for a while, so I used to go from the airport to wherever she was, and there was a lot of campgrounds over there
Mhm.
and lots of tents on the freeway where people are just living there. And have you made an impact there?
I've given food to some people. Glory to God, not myself. I was able to give one veteran a chance to get off the streets. He was suffering from some delusions due to a traumatic brain injury during his service in Afghanistan. And through my work, at the time I was working at a veterans nonprofit, and I was able to coordinate with his social worker and his mother and his father to get him back home to his family, where he now has a stable home. And that's something I'm very proud of. That was the one person that I think I was able to save off the streets, and that was wonderful.
Well, you start with one. It's always that first one, which is
Right.
always hard, and then everything comes become very. So I'm very impressed with what you're doing. So let me, another question would be: is how do people find you?
People can find me at JoeSoel2 on Twitter. That's at JoeSoel2 on Twitter. You can find my book on Amazon, The Broken Mirror of Memory, Iraq and Other Tales. Um, and that's about all the social media presence I have right now. I have a Facebook for friends, which is pretty private. But I mostly work through Twitter, which I guess is X now. Um,
It's
but
changed.
yeah,
Yes.
it's changed. I mostly work through X to promote my book and to do music uploads, things of that nature. So
Very well. Thank you so much. So, when you go into my Facebook page, could you please give us a link, one to your book and two where people can find you so that people can connect with you, because there's a community out there who wants to also help.
Yes.
Now, any questions that I should have asked you that I haven't asked you?
Not in particular. Just I would just urge people to, buy the book. It's a labor of love, and I would really appreciate not even the money from the book, but the chance to get my story out there. That's really why I do what I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is amazing, right? Joe here has served the country. He's retired at a very young age. Most people like us want to do that, right? But we can't. So, my question to you is, how can you help one person in your life today? This isn't a story of, this is could be a story about a niche, this could be a story about a journey, but the fact of the matter remains that you have to have a passion, and Joe had a passion to serve his country. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'll
No.
be thrilled to come on anytime.
Yeah, Munira's Musings is a show where we showcase people like you. And, you being a fellow author, we have to showcase you, but you have a very interesting story. And I appreciate you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. This is a new format that we are going into, and maybe we'll continue. We're just trying to test it out this time, but so it's a little bit different than what you're used to. But we are here to showcase a person out there who is thinking of writing a book, thinking of starting a business, thinking, well, stop thinking. You have to jump into the sea. Let's try this. And I'm not saying this is pretty easy unless you have a magic wand or a fairy godmother. But when you find her, I want dibs on that too. But we have to work hard. We have to get out there. We have to take care of our passion, because life is too short. Life is too short. And ladies and gentlemen, don't take another moment thinking. Let's just do it. It's very easy with all the technology that we have around us. It's pretty easy. So until we see you next week with another guest who's going to talk to you about their niche, we'll see you next week. Signing off, from Munira's Musings. Oh, one more thing. If you like what you hear, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.